Hello everyone, welcome to Coding Ninjas. My name is Mitesh and today we are going to look at Flexbox. So Flexbox is one of those topics in CSS in which people get stuck a lot while learning about CSS, while learning about Flexbox. And the thing is that the main reason why people find it difficult is because they don't try Flexbox by themselves. Alright, so in this video, we are going to look at how to basically approach Flexbox, as well as we're going to look at each and every property of Flexbox. So after watching this video, what you can do is, if in future, if you get stuck on Flexbox again, you can kind of like try thing out on Flexbox like we are going to do in this video. The main thing if you get stuck on Flexbox is that what you do is you know the property names of Flexbox. So we are going to cover all of those properties in this video. But let's say you know all of those properties name, and in future if you get stuck on Flexbox, if you don't recall what happens in Flexbox, what you can do is you can use those properties name, you can make some parent container as well as some child container, and then you can basically try those properties name and you can see what property name or what property does to its parent and to its children. Alright, and don't worry, in this video we're going to cover all of these things. After that you can get an idea on how to approach Flexbox, and as well as you're going to learn everything you can get from Flexbox in this video. But in future if you get stuck, then also you're going to get an idea how to approach Flexbox, because Flexbox is a topic in which, like, if you learn today but if you don't use it for several days or several weeks, then eventually you're going to forget it what Flexbox do. So we have to future proof this topic as well, that in future if you try to recall Flexbox and somehow we are not getting the idea of Flexbox, how Flexbox works, then how to approach it. Alright, in difficult situations, or even if we read some online articles, then also sometimes we get stuck on Flexbox. So this is the main reason for this, for my saying that I want to future proof this video or future proof the concept of Flexbox in your mind. That in the present you're not only going to get the whole topic, you're not only going to grasp the whole concept, but in the future as well, if you get stuck, then also you're going to apply that knowledge into your use, and you're going to basically make yourself understand Flexbox. Alright, so before we begin, this video is a part of a web development videos. So till now if you have not watched the previous videos of this playlist, the playlist link is available in the description as well as in the pinned comment. So if you have not watched the previous videos, go and watch the previous videos as well. I would also like to talk about an amazing course by Coding Ninjas, which is called Full Stack Web Development with Node.js by Coding Ninjas. So in this course, you're going to learn full stack web development, as the name suggests, that you're going to learn everything. You're going to learn front end and back end, as well as while you are going to learn, you're going to learn with the help of projects. So you are going to make projects along the way of your learning. Front-end projects, back-end projects, as well as full-stack projects. And back-end you will be covering with Node.js. So after this course, you will be job ready. So you can start applying for jobs as well as internships. So whichever your goal is, to apply for jobs or internships, or just start making some good and cool projects of your ideas. You can also start doing that after this course. So do check out Coding Ninjas Full Stack Web Development with Node.js course, link for which is also available in the description as well as in the pinned comment. Alright, and if you're interested in this Coding Ninjas course or any other Coding Ninjas course, but you want a scholarship in Coding Ninjas courses, so we got you for that as well, because Coding Ninjas has a scholarship test, which is called CSS scholarship test. With the help of that test, you can grab up to 100% scholarship in any of the available Coding Ninjas courses. So whether that course be any web development course, or let's say data structure algorithm course, or data science course, or interview preparation for product-based company course, or any other course which is available on Coding Ninjas. Alright, so you can grab a scholarship on that. So make sure to register for CSS scholarship test if you have not yet given that. Alright, so again you can find the scholarship test link in the description as well as in the pinned comment. So now let's jump to Flexbox. So to understand the concept of Flexbox, I have written some code of HTML, alright, and a little bit I've adjusted the CSS as well. So firstly, let me explain to you the HTML that we have written and we are going to begin with. Alright, and here are the bunch of topics that we will be covering. So we are going to cover flex, flex direction, flex wrap, flex flow, justify content, align items and align content. Alright, so the HTML that I have written is basically I have made a parent container. Alright, so parent div which is having a class named container. So we will be working with very little HTML. Alright, so one div which is the parent, which have 5 divs which are its child. So all 5 of these divs are its direct child. So this 5 divs also have some class name d1, d2, d3, d4, d5. Now I have adjusted their CSS a little bit. If you look this into our browser, it looks something like this. Alright, so this is div1, div2, div3, div4, div5. What I have done is I have given the parent container a color. I guess that is not visible at the moment. Let me increase the color intensity. Alright, so I have given parent container some color. Let me increase its height as well. Alright, let me give it 100 viewport height. So yeah, so this is the parent container which is having an orangish color, and we have a few divs inside of it: div1, div2, div3, div4 and div5. Alright, and we are going to understand flex using all of these 5 divs, and you can see that this divs have some basic property of border, property of margin and property of background color. And for obvious reasons, to make you understand about some property, I've also given all of these divs different height. Alright, so one div is having 30 height, 50, 70, 40 and 60 height. So I've just given all of these divs different height. Now let's begin with flex and let's understand what does flex does. So for that we are going to style.css. So this thing, the code that we have written till now, the CSS that we have written till now has nothing to do with the flex property. Alright, that's why I've written this CSS in a separate file, in index.html file, such that it doesn't confuse us when we work with CSS. Now let's go to style.css file and let's work on flex property. So to give a flex property, firstly we have to understand what flex does. If we give someone flex, then what is going to happen is all of its container are going to become flex. All of its children are going to become flex. So in this case, to understand a parent-children relationship, we can see that the container is the parent as well as the divs, the d1, d2, d3, d4, d5. All of these divs are their children. Alright, so we are having a parent and their children. If we apply the flex property, the display flex property to the parent, then all of his children are going to become flex. And what happens in flex? Let's see what happens when we write display flex to the parent, to its parent. So display flex. Alright, so we have written this. Now let's see what happens inside of this. So you can see that they have kind of become in a single line. They have come in a single line. Now why is that? This is because of flex, and you can see that they are kind of acting like span tag as well as span as well as div tag. We can see that, we can basically say that they are behaving like an inline block element. Alright, and I guess we have discussed about inline and block element as well as inline block element in detail in a previous lecture. If you have a little bit confusion in that, you can also refer to that video first and understand what are inline block and why they are so important. And it would be difficult for us to make each of these blocks inline block. So what flex does is flex make all of these blocks inline block. So first property that we see is they are having an inline block property. Again, this inline block property might not be very customizable. Let's do one thing. Let's go to D1. Let's increase its width as well. Let's say width equals to 100 pixel. If we go, you can see that the width is also, we can also adjust the width of each and every element. Right? So this is an inline block element. We know that because a span is an inline element and in which we were not able to alter its width. But an inline block element, we can alter its width as well, and they all of those blocks are in a single line as well. So this is an inline block element. We are able to alter its width as well. So this is what flex does. Alright, so flex is going to make all of its children inline block. As well as with this, we can add some additional properties to its children. So let's look at those properties. So first property we are going to talk about is flex direction. Now, what is the flex direction in this? Alright, so let's just use this property once and let's try to understand what is flex direction. Because the best way to understand about these properties is not by me explaining, is by doing some practical work and understanding what does each property does. So let's write here flex direction and just write here row and let's just save it. And if you go, you can see that nothing has changed. Alright, and this might be some error. Let's just try to change the flex direction to something else. So column. Alright, so now you can see that they are no more an inline block element. Alright, so they are kind of like a block element now. It is because initially when we have written nothing, at that time flex direction was row. Alright, and what the direction row means is, so this is the direction in which all of the blocks are going. Alright, so this is the direction, or we can say that from left to right they are going. Alright, so this is the flex direction here, which is kind of like a row direction. And now if we change it to column, the direction is going to change. Alright, so direction has now changed. Alright, so now understand the flex direction in detail. Alright, so if we try to make our HTML here, so we have like this several blocks. Initially, we were able to see those blocks like this, one after another, not one below another. So in this, the flex direction is row. So the direction of these columns in which they are arranged is a flex direction row. In the other direction that we have seen is the blocks were like one below another. In this direction is column, or the flex direction is column. So we basically understand now what is a flex direction row is and what is a flex direction column is and how we can use them. Alright, so this is one thing, this is to understand the flex direction. Before going further, let's just see what is going to happen if we give any of it container display flex property. So let's see, let's just try to give display flex to all of its container. Let's just go back here, let's just refresh and let us see. So nothing happens, right? And this is quite obvious because all of those containers are not having any more children. So flex direction or so display flex are going to do nothing to them. As well as display flex is going to not change the property of its parents. So it's not like that this, like if we are like making this display flex, then its parent value might change. No, its parent will still be having display flex. So it means that we can have nested display flex. Alright, so what I mean by that is, let's say we have a parent and in that parent we have several children. So we made that parent display flex. So all of those children are now having the property of flex. And in each child, we can again apply the display flex. So let's say if that child is having some more child, alright, so then those can be flex as well. Alright, let me just show you here what I mean by that. So let's say we have this parent and we said that display flex. So then all of his children are going to have the property of flex. Now each of these children, let's say they are having some more elements. So we can also say something like that this element is flex. Alright, so this element was flex and now this element is also flex. So now the children of this element, so treat this as a parent now. The children of this element are also going to have the property of flex. Alright, before going further, let's just firstly understand more about flex and more about more flex properties. Let's just look at more flex property. So we have understood this till now. Let's just do another thing. Let's just put the width here. Alright, because we don't want to change the width now. We just want the width to be constant, and we want to work on flex properties on this slide. Alright. So other property, the second property that we are going to look on is flex wrap. Now what is the flex wrap does? So for that, let's do one thing. Let's just increase the number of div 5 for now. Let's just go here. Let's see. So you can see that after a certain amount of time, div 5 is in the same line. It's not going on the let's say on the line below. Let's just increase some more div 5. Now the thing is going to happen is this is going to become a problem for us, because we have assigned some width to div 1 as well, but that width is now gone because of the fact that we are trying to push more divs or more children in the same line. That's why its width is gone, as well as when more children appear and they are demanding to be in the same line, what is going to happen is they are going to basically cross the container and they are going to go beyond the container, as we can see here. So for this what we think is better would be, for that, let's say we have a few extra divs here. Alright, let's say 2 or 3 extra divs here. We want those extra divs to not stay in the same line rather than to go in the line below. And let's just do that. Let's just write here flex wrap, and let's just say wrap. You can see that now those extra divs which are causing trouble for us because of which the div 1 width was gone, as well as they were overflowing our container. Those divs are now in the new line, alright, and they are having their independent properties as well. So they are not altering the properties of any of its sibling, alright, because if we try to push more divs in the same line, they are going to basically push their siblings. And let's say one of those siblings is having a width, alright, and another sibling is just pushing itself. So that sibling is going to get thinner, or its width is going to get altered without even us doing anything to the width. So you can see that now div 1 is having some width and we are not changing its width. But as soon as we remove the flex wrap, its width is now gone, as well as other divs width are also gone, and div 2. So 2 is two basically come on the next line. Alright, so 2 is on the next line rather than div 2 is div 2 being on the same line. Alright, and this is because of the fact that its siblings are pushing each other. So they are just consuming as little space as possible, and this is the little space as possible. After consuming the little space as possible, they are going to go across their container. Alright, so this div 5 is basically has crossed the container. And if we try to add some more divs here, let's say a little bit more divs here, you can see that they are just overflowing the container. Alright, and now when we apply the flex wrap property, so this is not happening again. Alright, and for obvious reasons, flex wrap might not be useful when we go on flex direction column. Alright, and it might be useful. So now you can see that now a little bit of confusion is here. Alright, so we have written flex direction column. Now what does happen here? What do you think is happening here? Alright, so in flex column we might be thinking that they should be one below another. Now why they are in this fashion? Alright, so for that we have a reason. If we remove the flex wrap property, you can see that they are one below another. Now they are altering their height. Alright, they are just pushing each other from top or from bottom. So they are altering their height. Not only their height, they are also going across the container. So this container is having some height, and if you try to add more divs to this container, some new divs are going to go across this container, alright, and consume more space which are not being allotted to them. We want these divs to be in the same container. For that we can use the flex wrap property, and now with the help of flex wrap property, what is going to happen is they are still going to be in the column fashion. So div 1, div 2, div 3, div 4. So you can see that these 4 divs are one below another. After this, they can see that there is no more space below div 4. So the div 5 is going to basically go in the next column. Alright, so div 5, div 5, div 5. Similarly, div 5, div 5, div 5, and more like this. Now what is going to happen is, if we increase more div, now they might alter their width or their height to adjust more divs. Alright, so in the end they can alter the height and width according to the children that we have added in the container. But with the help of flex wrap property, it's kind of like we have more control in our hand of width and of height. Alright, now let's go to and understand more properties. So the next property we are going to look at is flex flow. Flex flow is not a property but a shorthand. Now what flex flow does? So let's just go here and let's just comment out flex direction and flex wrap. Before doing this, let me show you that there are more variations of flex wrap. Alright, so some variation are inherit, initial, unset, wrap and wrap reverse. We know what is wrap. Let's just try wrap reverse for now. And let's just go here and now let's just see what happens. So yeah, alright. So in row we have applied the property of wrap reverse. Now what is happening is div 1, so basically the wrap is going to start from let's say in the reverse order. So div 1, div 2, div 3, div 4, div 5, div 5, div 5 and this div 5, div 5, div 5. So they are going in the reverse order now. And this might happen then as well, when we were having some few elements. So in this as well, they are starting from the end of the container now. So not from the beginning of the container, but from the end of the container. And yeah, so this is happening something like this. So this is the flex wrap reverse property. So they are wrapping the children are wrapping themselves in the reverse order. Alright, so this is one. Now we have inherit, initial and unset. So unset is just like no wrap. Initial is also just like no wrap. Like what is the initial property? Now inherit, this is the property which came from its parent. So let's say its parent is also a flex container. Its parent is also a flex container and it is also having some wrap property on it. And that parent is having a wrap property of flex wrap or the flex wrap. Alright. Now this is going to inherit, the child component is a flex as well. So the child component is going to inherit the wrap property from its parent. This is what inherit does. Alright, so we have understood, and now we have understood that mainly there are two types of flex wrap, the wrap property and the wrap reverse property. Now let's just write here wrap flex flow. Alright, flex flow. Let's just try to understand flex flow now. In this we can again write column. So this is the column. Alright, so basically this is the shorthand for flex direction and flex wrap. We can also write here wrap. So this is also doing wrap. We can write both of the property which we have learned till now, flex direction and flex wrap. We can write both of them in the same property name, flex flow. Alright, so let's just see that there are more flex directions available to us or not. Alright, so we have again more property, column reverse and row reverse. Let's just try both of them. So row reverse, in this now they are just being in the same row, but they are just going to get reversed. So row reverse is like 1, 2, 3, 4. You can just see what is happening here. So the order of elements are now in reverse. So direction, in the direction, if we write the reverse, this is going to change the order of those elements. Alright, and that was not in the case of flex wrap. You might be a little bit you might be or you might not be confused in flex wrap reverse. So in wrap reverse, what it does for, so for that, let's just go here. Alright, and let's just try to understand. So currently we are working on flex direction row. So this is our first row, this is our second row, this is our third row, and this is our fourth row. Let's say that our container currently can have not more than 4 rows. Alright, So what happens is, this is our axis, alright, so our axis is row, and we are also having a reverse axis, in this case reverse axis. So when our flex direction is row, the reverse axis is going to be column, right? Reverse axis is going to be column. When we say wrap reverse, that is going to say that initially, let's say our elements were in the first row, or rather than the first row, alright, and they are going from top to below. So the row is our main axis, alright, and column is our cross axis. Now this main axis and this cross axis property is quite important. Now what is going to happen is, the cross axis is going from top to bottom, alright. But when we say wrap reverse, so this cross axis direction is then going to change. So when we say wrap reverse, this cross axis direction is going to change. So basically wrap is controlling the cross axis, alright, wrap is controlling the cross axis. Now the elements are going to begin from the bottom row, alright, but we have not changed the alignment of the main axis, alright. The alignment of the main axis is being controlled by our flex direction property, alright. So here flex direction is controlling the main axis, and the flex wrap is containing the cross axis. And keep this in mind, I'm going to give you one more example, alright. So what flex direction does is, it is going to control the main axis, and this is going to control the cross axis, alright. Now what is the main axis, if you are still confused in the terminology? In this we are giving its direction as row, so the main axis is row, alright, and the axis which is not the main axis is going to be the cross axis. So the main axis is row, so the reverse axis or the cross axis, sorry, the cross axis is going to be the column. In the case when we write here column, in this the main axis is the column, now the cross axis is the row, alright. If we go here, the main axis, so this has now become our main axis. Initially the alignment, the unset alignment is like this, from left to right and from top to bottom, alright. But now this has become the main axis and this has become the cross axis, the row has become the cross axis. Now what is going to happen is, if we say that flex direction is column reverse, so the main axis is column reverse, alright, the main axis is column reverse, then initially the elements are going to go from bottom to top. Let's just understand this. For now let's just remove flex wrap, and we are just saying flex direction column reverse. Now what I'm saying is, the main axis, we are changing the main axis, column. Elements are going to go from bottom to top. Let's just see this is in action. So elements are going from bottom to top because this is the main axis, and we are saying that reverse the main axis. Another axis we have is the cross axis, which is here being controlled by the wrap property, alright, and the wrap currently says that from left to right, alright. But let's just do another thing. Let's just write here wrap reverse, alright. So now this is wrap reverse. What is happening is, now what is happening here, let's just understand this, and let's just firstly do one thing. Before doing that, let's just write here only wrap, as well as alright. Let's just firstly try to grasp this concept. We are having column reverse. So column reverse, it means that elements are going to start from bottom and go till top again. So in the first column, our 4 elements are going from bottom to top. After the fifth element cannot come in the same container. So for that we have made another column. In this again we are having the property of column reverse. So the elements are going from bottom to top. So that's why we have this 5 here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So these are going in reverse order, right? So this is what the direction does, or this is what we have talked about the main axis. Now we are going to talk about wrap and basically wrap reverse, and we are going to see how does the wrap reverse affect this when we are arranging our components in the column manner, as well as we are going to see how it affects it in cross-axis manner. Alright, so currently axis is going from, our cross-axis is going from left to right. After doing the wrap reverse, our cross-axis will be going from right to left. So now you should guess how these components are going to look after we write direction column, as well as down below we are going to write wrap reverse. Then just think for a moment how our components are going to look. Alright, so let's do it now. So let's go to style. Let's just write here only column, and just let's write here wrap reverse. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so they are going from right to left. Yeah, because we are doing wrap reverse, so cross axis is going will be going from right to left. Alright, and if we apply both property at the same time, then cross axis will go like this, but in the main axis also will reverse, though the main axis will reverse. So what is going to happen is div1 is going to, we are going to see the div1 at down below, div2, div3 and div4. So it is going to start from bottom and go till top. Let's just see here. Let's just write here column reverse, and as expected, it is starting from bottom and going till top. Alright, so this is it for flex direction and flex wrap. Let's just look at some more property. So we have worked on this 3 property, and please remember that flex direction points at the main direction and flex wrap points at the cross axis, and cross axis is just the opposite axis of the direction that we have been mentioned on the flex direction. Alright, so this was the summary of the thing that we have learned till now. Now let's just work on justify content, and let's just see what justify content does. For now I'm going to mark it as row, only row, and just wrap. So this is going to look something like this. I'm doing this because I just want to explain to you justify content. Alright, now let's just see what justify content is. So let's just write here justify content, and for now let's just say it's center. Alright, so justify content center. So now the extra space that we are having, so let's say we are having, you can see that we are having a lot of extra space. So what is happening is we are just like leaving the extra space from right and left, and we are arranging all of our components on the center of our particular line because of our particular row. Alright, or of our particular axis. If we change this from row to column, you're going to see like currently we are having a lot of components, but let's say that we have some few components. Let me just comment 1 or 2 components, and you can see that here also all of these components are going on the center, because on the main axis they are going to go to the center. Alright, so this was one property, and you can see that in column as well. The div5 is going on a new column, so here also it is going on the center. Alright, so this was justify content. There are a lot of other properties to justify content, like baseline. Let's see what baseline does. Baseline does nothing, because baseline is just like the default property. Alright, so baseline, center, end. Let's just see what end does. So it kind of makes them start from the end. Let us write here row. Alright, row. So on the main axis, all of the elements will be starting at the end. Alright, there's a huge difference in between justify content end and flex direction row reverse. Alright, so this is what justify content ends look like. But if we write something like row reverse, that is going to be the completely opposite picture. Alright, in this, the div1 is starting, basically the numbering is also being reversed. Alright, you can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the numbering is also being reversed. But in the case of justify content end, the numbering is not getting reversed. Their basic arrangement or their basic order remains the same, but they are going to get shifted to the end. So this is what justify content does. Justify content will never going to change the order of our component. So justify content, and let's just say we have seen center, we have seen and left. So left and right, they are just basically going to be the same. So I guess yeah, space around and space between, these are two more important properties. Many times when we have a lot of divs, so you might have seen in case of, let's say, YouTube channel, all right, there we have a lot of videos and all of those components look alike. So in that we might use a property like space between, because in that container we want all of those videos to be separated with some space. So this is what space between does. It basically gives equal amount of space in between these components. So sorry, space around. So this is what space around does. So in space around, you are also seeing some space from left and right as well. Let us see what happens in space between. In space between, basically the main concept is going to be the same, but the main difference is that from right hand side and from left hand side, they are going to not give the space. Alright, so you can see that div1 is going to the left and div5 is going to the left as compared to the justify content space around. Alright, justify content space around. And this also kind of like a margin has been given, or kind of like a padding has been given from right hand side and from left hand side. Alright, so this is it for justify property. Now let's look at another property which is called align items. Alright, let's just see what does align items does. For now we are going to comment down justify content, and let's just write here align items, and let's just write align items center. So align items is going to work on the cross axis here. Alright, let me write here as well. So justify content works on the main axis, and similar to this, align items are going to work on the cross axis. So basically align items currently are working on the cross axis. This would be interesting if we change the flex direction to column. Alright, now you can see that if we remove align items, they are not going to be in the center. Alright, they are going to consume, or they are going to take as much space as they can, because we have not set any limit to many of their widths. Let's say div2, div3, div4 and div5, we have not set any limits to their width. Alright, and yeah, so as soon as we hit center, they are going to take as much space as they want, not more than that. Alright, so div2 doesn't need more than this space. In the case of div1, we have specified some width to div1. If we go here and we see, so we have given width of 100 pixel to div1, that's why div1 is not getting shrinked. Alright, so this was justify alignment center. Let's just see more. Let's say flex and. So flex and, this won't be much understandable if we go to column. Let's just go on row. Alright, so you can see that flex and. So they are going to start from flex and. Again, this is a cross alignment property, so you might get confused with flex wrap as well. Alright, so between flex and, you can see that it is starting from the bottom left corner. Let's just see what happens when we do wrap reverse. Alright, currently both of these properties are getting coincided. That's why this is happening. Let's just comment it out and let's just see. Alright, so kind of like sometimes wrap property and align item property might be same, or some of it concept might be same. Alright, you can see that in wrap reverse property as well, the alignment is same. And when we do align items, flex and flex wrap reverse, we just comment that out. Alright, so this property is also same. And when we hit both of these property at the same time, one is going to say I want to go to the bottom. Alright, first property is going to say I want to go to the bottom left property. Now this property is going to basically currently reverse the direction of the flex. So firstly what happens is this has reversed the direction of our flex. Now this is also going to reverse it, sorry. Alright, so let me just understand you, let me just give you an example. So there are few things happening here. When we say wrap reverse, So wrap reverse, what wrap reverse does is, so let's say currently our cross axis was working like this. Now wrap reverse is going to basically change the direction from top to bottom to top. So this is what wrap does. So this is wrap and this is wrap and this is wrap reverse. Alright, so in this they have changed the direction. Now what does align item flex end does? Align item flex end are going to start the alignment of those components or the starting of those components or the arrangement of those components from the end. So here in normal wrap property, they can see that the end of our cross axis is here. So they are going to start those components from here. But in this again, the flex end, the align flex end is going to see that the end of our cross axis is at the top. So they are going to start the items aligning from here. So this is the main difference. Alright, so there is a difference in between wrap and align items. Alright, and we have seen the difference. Wrap basically changes the cross axis direction, but align items does that. Align items just focus on the axis direction and where to start and where to end in that axis direction. So I hope that this is clear now. Alright, so let's just make it to wrap. We can similarly do like flex start as well, but currently in our scenario this is not going to affect us so much if we do flex start. And I guess so we also have a property scratch. Alright, so currently scratch is not working. Let's just work on column. Alright, so scratch is not that much useful. You might see in some components that if we align items to scratch, it is going to either increase their width or increase their height depending on the main axis and cross axis. Alright, so this is it about align items, align item property, and both of these properties are quite important. Align items and justify content properties are quite important. If we apply both of those properties at the same time, you might see some good results. Like let's say center, and here also let's say center, and let's just make it to row. So this is like a good example of this, of flex. Alright, and the uses of flex as well, that how flex is useful to us so much. Alright, because it makes so easy to align this, align our contents wherever we want. Alright, we can say another thing like align items, let's say flex end. Alright, so basically this is going to work on the cross axis. So in the row, cross axis is column, so it has aligned to the bottom. We can also say flex start. Alright, and we can also like say center and justify content to be space between. You can see that this is a beautiful property. Alright, and we can do the same in column as well. Alright, currently they are going, there's like one extra div. If we have div like this, then it is going to look more beautiful. Alright, and we can do this as well. Let's say we don't want every div file to go on some new line, then we can just comment out the flex wrap property. Alright, so now they are all going to be the same, and the thing is that in this case they are just going to work on their height. They are going to recalculate their height. They are not going to go with the height that we have given them. Alright, so the height might shrink in this case, but sometimes it's okay for the height to get shrink rather than going on some other path. So what I mean by this is that this is good even though they have sacrificed their height, but this doesn't look good. Alright, so it's up to you to decide when to use flex wrap property and when not to use the flex wrap property. Alright, so this is it for align items as well as for justify content. Let's see that what does align, our last property, align content does. So align content, let's say center for now, and let's just work on, rather than column, let's just say it a row. Alright, okay, so align content center. So and let's just see the difference in between align content and align items. So let's just comment out align content for now. Let's just see. Wait 1 second. All right. So this is what align items is doing, and this is what align content is doing. So there might be a little bit difference that we are not able to see at the moment. Let me just comment out this two divs. All right. So this is what our align content is, and let me do this. So basically there is not much difference in this case, but let's just see some more property. Align content, space around. Let's open it. Space around is also not doing much here. Let's just write space between. I guess it is because we are having a few elements. Let me just uncomment it out, and let's just go to column. All right. So now you can see that what is happening is basically align content is going to work on the space in between them. So let's say if we comment it out, you can see that they are something like this, but now we are demanding some space in between them. All right, so they are going to focus on the space in between them. All right, so this is what align content does. It just adds a few more properties, but many of times align content is not that much useful. The main properties that you are going to focus on is direction, wrap, justify content, and align items. Let's just work around if there are some more properties in between of align content. So space around. So this is kind of like, this is filling the space for space around and space between, and this this properties that we have seen in justify content. This is similar to that, but justify content was working on the main axis. Now align content is going to work on the cross axis. Many times align content, what align content does can be done with the help of align items as well. All right, but this is it. This is what align content does, and there's not much to it. We have seen basically all of the things before in align items. All right, so yeah, center. So this is like this, and let's just do this center. Yeah. So currently the difference that we were able to see is that in align content. All right, so when we were having align items, right? So this is what align items center is doing. Align item center is just going to work on their alignment, but align content is going to work on the cross axis in between them. All right. So what I mean by that is, so currently the cross axis is going from top to bottom. So it has basically shrinked its container. What I mean to say is that, let's say for now, let's just imagine that the container is, look at my cursor, all right. So the container is something like this. The container is going something like that. So align content is just shrinking their container and it's just focusing on bringing all of the content to the center. So there's not much to it to align content, but you can work around. You can just go and you can find the best way to make your components look good using flex property that we have seen today. And I hope that you have understood all of these properties by now. Alright, so if you have watched the video till now, please make sure to like, comment and subscribe to Coding Ninjas YouTube channel as well. Before we end, let me again remind you of the full stack web development course with Node.js by Coding Ninjas. In this course, you're going to learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript in the front end, and you're going to cover backend with the help of Node.js. During the whole course, you're going to learn a lot of things and you're going to basically learn the full stack web development with Node.js with the help of projects. So you're going to make projects all the way while you're learning. Alright, and at the end, there will be a lot of projects to write in your resume as well. So yeah, so this is an advantage to you, and at the end of the whole course, you can start applying for jobs. So basically, with this course, you will be job ready. So at the end of the course, you can start applying for jobs, as well as start making your own projects or start applying for internships, depending on your priorities and depending on what do you want. Alright. So please do check out Coding Ninjas Full Stack Web Development course with Node.js, link for which is given in the description as well as in the pinned comment. As well as if you have not yet checked out CNSAD scholarship test. So with the CNSAD scholarship test, you can earn up to 100% scholarship in any of the available Coding Ninjas courses. So courses like web development courses, data structure and algorithm courses, data science courses, as well as interview preparation for product-based company course, and there are a lot of other courses by Coding Ninjas. Alright, so please do register for CNSAD scholarship test. This is a great chance for you to earn scholarship in Coding Ninjas courses. The link for CNSAD scholarship test is also been given in the description as well as in the pinned comment. So this is it for this video. I hope that you have liked it. I hope that you have learned something new. And please make sure to like to this video as well as share it with your friends who are getting confused, getting confused in flex properties. All right. So thank you everyone.